where all the glaciers melt because humans are assholes.
2019.
You find yourself stuck in
Waterworld. Why are you never on the ball? At the time this movie was made, and I'm sure that most people watching this video know this already, but for those who don't, it was the most expensive movie ever made at $185 million.
And it came out when?
I don't know. Late 90s, early 2000s. Let's look at it.
Late 90s, early 2000s.
95. In this film, we've got a couple of characters, a couple of lively, colorful characters. We have Dennis Hopper, who's the villain, and he's a character actor. He's been in a bunch of stuff. I love him.
About him in the movie, for a man who's never been on dry land, he really loves golfing.
He loves golfing, and he loves cigarettes. Like
cigarettes,
not
is an interesting thing to talk about.
Yeah,
in this movie. Because I mean, there's no dry
land. And I'm sure you could grow it in soil if you had soil, and soil in this world.
It's hard for them to find soil.
It's rare. But the cigarettes, these aren't hand-rolled cigarettes with paper that they've harvested and grown. These are like professionally produced Marlboros.
There's like a Marlboro plug, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Everything else in this movie doesn't really make sense.
Oh, no.
This movie is a giant plot hole. Even the first, one of the first scenes in the movie where he's underwater diving for stuff and someone sneaks aboard his vessel and steals his limes that are in this little tree. And then later on you find out that dirt is the most valuable thing in Waterworld. That person that snuck onto his vessel stole the limes, but left the tree that's planted in this pot of dirt. It
perfectly able to be picked up single-handedly. Like, you can take one hand and just grab the pot.
Well, I don't know why you wouldn't just take the whole pot.
That's what I'm saying. You can just take the whole pot with one hand, hop back onto your boat, and then go.
Yeah.
But this asshole, he's like, hey, I got your limes.
Let me bite into them.
That's bitter. It's a lime.
It's just, that was just the first thing that stood out to me, or that I noticed, the first plot hole.
There's just so many of them.
There's so many. The smokers, that's what they're called, the villains, right?
Yeah, because they smoke
they
all
smoke
the cigarettes.
Well, I thought it was all the cigarettes.
And all of them are called smokers. Like, they're called smokers because they're notorious for smoking cigarettes. So it's not just Dennis Hopper.
That's not why.
That's not why?
That's not why.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
What is it?
The reason they're called smokers is because they drive around on those jet skis which are powered by gas and give off smoke.
That's why they're called smokers?
Yeah, no one else has gasoline.
Well, they only have it. They only have gasoline because they're on this big ass cargo ship, which is a gasoline cargo ship. But they still have gas. 300 years. It's been 300 years.
The gas shouldn't be good anymore.
The gas shouldn't be good. There shouldn't be any more of it if it was good. And then also, it's been 300 years. This metal steel ship or whatever it's made out of, floating on the ocean for 300 years. No maintenance. A lot of salinity. What the fuck?
There's a car on board. Can I say
There's a car.
There's a car on board for some reason. I don't know why. How did they get the car on board?
Did they? I think they might have built the car. But even if they built it, how did they know how to build it? Where did they get the parts?
Yeah.
It's been 300 years. I have to imagine that since the world was flooded, I have to imagine that happened fairly quickly. Yet there's still jet skis. We've got a guy on skis themselves. Like, there's a dude being pulled by a jet ski, riding skis. There's like 4 of them. It's like a SeaWorld.
It's like a water ski. Yeah, no, it reminded me of the SeaWorld.
It reminded me of like a SeaWorld show.
Yeah, they were on the water skis.
It was ridiculous.
And then tried to...
Sam went over the couch. It was so ridiculous. He went over the couch.
And then they had the jet skis set up with the ramps and everything to fly into the base.
It was just
It
looked like it was comical.
It was hilarious. It was awesome.
Hysterical.
The first hour and a half of this movie is fantastic. By the way, we watched the 3-hour cut of this film. It did not need it. It's the longest cut of the film. It's called the Ulysses cut. I recommend, if you're going to check this one out, watch the 2-hour and 20-minute cut, which is the theatrical cut.
I recommend not watching it, period.
Yeah. Yeah, I recommend not watching it. But if you are going to go ahead and watch the shorter version because, I mean, time is money, baby.
Just how they get supplies in general doesn't really make sense. Like, the main character, it makes kind of sense because he has gills for some reason.
Yeah, he's Fishman. He's Aquaman.
Dude, he
He's
shows
Aquaman, dude.
in
He's
the movie.
Aquaman, bro.
He's Aquaman.
He's Aquaman.
So he's able to go down to the ocean floor,
And that's
which
how he gets
has
his
all
dirt.
the remnants and ruins of civilization. So that's how he's able to get his supplies and dirt and all that stuff.
Because he just gets it from the ocean.
How he
floor.
made his ship, probably. But everyone else, how are they coming across materials? Just whatever drifts around? It's been 300 years.
Yeah.
300 years isn't long enough for someone to develop gills.
But they did.
There's this little girl with a map on her back. It's a tattoo, and the tattoo supposedly is a map to dry land. The only place on Earth that's still above water.
Yes.
And no one knows about it. It's just a myth. But supposedly this tattoo has a map. So everyone's chasing after this girl.
And I just like to point out real quickly, what a basic ass map. And like this girl has been around since she was a baby because she apparently floated in on a basket or some shit. Another ridiculous thing, like they let her out onto the ocean and then she floats for God knows how long into somebody's hut, boat. But yeah, this ridiculously simple map on her back, and she's with this person, Gregor, Gregory, I don't know, Gregor, and what's the woman's name? The main lady. And Gregor's like studying this whole time, this back tattoo, and in the last 10-15 minutes of the movie, he sees the tattoo upside down, and he's like, oh, they're coordinates.
But he doesn't know what coordinates are.
Yeah, he doesn't know what coordinates are, so he's like, they're numbers.
Those are numbers.
On the map from the ancients.
And then the map had numbers. So
Ancients
maybe if we use
used
the numbers from her back.
And I'm going to take my little spectrograph thing, I don't know what it's called, I'm not a scientist, and I'm going to put it on my, or a cartographer, that's what it's called. I'm not a cartographer. And then they put it on the map.
It's a cryptographer.
Yes. And they put it on the map, and there are cryptids in the film.
Can we
Finish
it? Finish it. You're right there.
And he puts it on the map, and he's like, "Whoa, I found it!" And they go to Everest, and it's Everest.
Yeah, Everest is.
Of course.
And guess what? They show up only 300 years later, and there are beaches formed on
There's
Everest.
a beach. There's
waterfalls.
There's like waterfalls. Where are the waterfalls coming from? It's been 300 years.
It just doesn't make sense. Like I said, the whole movie's just a plot hole. There's horses on the island, which is Everest, right? So which means that horses had the common sense to go to higher ground when the glaciers were melting, but people weren't.
But two people.
Because there were two people.
Two people figured out that they needed to get up.
Well, I'm sure maybe more at one time, but maybe something happened. Maybe they all started getting gills. And they all started dying off.
Or they just went to the ocean.
Yeah, maybe they just went to the ocean now. They were like, I'm tired of land. Land kind of sucks. It's very barren here. It's a mountain. It's Mount Everest. There's nothing grows.
I don't know.
For a couple hundred years.
They seemed pretty psyched about it when they got there.
When they got there, yeah, everything was nice and lush and green. That made sense. A few hundred years, you got some greenery and stuff. But everything else, god damn it.
Before we go further, the girl in this movie is the same girl in Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes.
As a child, of course.
And the last hour and a half of this movie is just a rescue mission because at some point, you got Kevin Costner's Aquaman, you got Deb from Napoleon Dynamite, and you got Main Lady, and they're all on a boat together. And then Deb gets kidnapped, and Dennis Hopper from Blue Velvet, they take him away. And then they have to go get her back. And it's like a whole separate fucking movie, and it kind of feels like two movies in one, but the second movie is like the shittiest possible sequel that could have been ever made. And it's terrible. And it's terrible. If you want, there's a part in this movie where you could just cut it. You just cut it off, and it's the part where Kevin Costner is not very warm with Deb and Main Lady at first. And he just chucks that kid into the ocean. Cut the movie off. Just cut it off right there.
Yeah, this movie's a copper for me. Funny at points, but just terrible overall.
It had a great first half, terrible second half. Gonna have to give it a copper.
Yeah, I'll give it a copper too. It wasn't good.
And there you have it! A copper! Yes, we normally don't continue talking about the ratings after, but this movie we shall because I just really want to drag this out. Golden Line of the Week goes to...
Maybe we should put them under the dirt. I think it was their way.
Thanks so much for watching.
Thanks so much for liking and subscribe. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe.
Yeah!
Yeah.
We didn't get any cool toys. We're not wearing a swimsuit. I'm wearing kind of like a beachy shirt. God damn!